What is going on, everyone? Welcome to day 30 of my Halloween horror. And for today's video, I ended up watching Clive Barker's Hellraiser, which is an absolute classic. Clive Barker being one of my favorite writers. Now, the story of Hellraiser and the character of Pinhead was, I believe, originally a short story called what was it called? The Secret Heart or something like that, or the Shaped Heart. I can't remember exactly the proper name, but I know it had heart in it. But the film itself was directed by Clive Barker, and I also believe he wrote. The Bloodhound Heart is the Hellbound Heart. Yeah, the Hellbound Heart was the short story that he took inspiration from to create a full length film in this, and it stars Ashley Lawrence, who I believe this is like her first film, and she would go on to show up in a couple sequels and do some other films. But you have Andrew Robinson, who plays Larry, and Claire Higgins, who plays Julia. So Larry and Julia are this married couple. They move into this home, and of course you got Ashley Lawrence, who plays the young daughter. And Julia is, or Julie, right? Julia. She is the stepmom to Ashley Lawrence's character. And we end up finding out that Frank, which is Larry's brother, is resurrected back from hell after he was killed solving the configuration cube. I forgot the name of the cube that they call it, but he comes back, and in order to make himself look normal, he has to basically kill people and kind of like eat their blood and or drink their blood in some way or something like that. So Julia, who was a lover to Frank, which is Larry's brother, she decides to go ahead and start bringing people in so that way Frank can slowly get his basically look more human. And of course, something happens to Larry. I don't want to give away too much, but then of course, we're introduced to Pinhead and the other Cenobites. It's a really great horror film. I think at the time, it was probably like the first horror film that was an adaptation to a short story or a book. Not well, no. Let me rephrase that. It was the first that wasn't done by Stephen King. Stephen King's novels, probably since the late 70s, mid to late 70s, have been getting, full length film adaptations or TV adaptations. But it's one of many, but it's actually the first for Clive Barker. Of course, we'd get Nightbreed and things like that. I think Nightbreed might have came along before. I don't know. It's been quite some time since I've seen Nightbreed. But I do know for Clive Barker, it was like one of his early adaptations, is what I'm trying to get to the point of. And you have Doug Bradley, who plays Pinhead, who would go on to do the series until probably the last two of the franchise. Other than this new one, he's not in that. So at least there's three that he's not in. And the one thing about about Hellraiser and the series itself is that a lot of the sequels were not actually intended to be sequels. They were actually just scripts for movies that were pretty much passed on by, and they ended up getting like redone. There were some minor changes that would go into that script, and they would turn it into a Hellraiser film, and it didn't really turn out that well. And that's why a lot of people consider a lot of the sequels to be garbage. But Hellraiser itself it's a great film. It's a great it's different from the other horror films that we're used to. We don't have aliens from other worlds. We don't have people coming back from the dead and things like that. It's just something completely different, and I like that. And I like the fact that to bring our horror villain into our world, we have to use some type of a puzzle, which I thought was a really cool concept. So yeah, I wish I could say more about Hellraiser. It's one of those movies that everyone has seen. Came out in 1987. I believe it's 1987. There's so many films that come out in the late 80s that it's hard to keep track of what came out. But I do believe it's 1987. either 87 or 89, one of those two. 2 years, but yeah, I've always enjoyed it. Doug Bradley is one of my favorite actors, and just what he brought to Pinhead is just so menacing, so creepy, and even just Pinhead himself is an interesting character. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure I don't sneeze in this video, but yeah, that's my review or somewhat review of Hellraiser. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are on Hellraiser. Do you enjoy the film? Are you not a fan of it? With that being said, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in a future video. Peace.